Yo guys, what is going on? Blossom is back and welcome back to another episode of Top Drives. Now, first of all, I want to talk about this. This is broccoli, but I totally forgot how you call it. Is this a piece of No way this is a piece of broccoli, right? It is a bunch. Would you call it a bunch of broccoli? You wouldn't just call it one broccoli because, well, actually, would multiple broccoli be called broccoli? I don't know. I just feel like when you call it one broccoli, it's gonna be like one, like when you chop it and then like it's like one bite-sized piece. I don't know. Let me know down in the comments below. But anyway, welcome to another episode of RQR. Of course, we're talking about RQ increases today. We talked about rares in the first section of RQR. Now we're going to be talking about epics. I would really like it that this series will never finish because I want the new update to come before I can finish the series. Because if the update doesn't arrive before I finish the series, that means that this update will not be legit. Like, it won't be coming for at least another month. And like, I don't want that to happen. I want something new now. But let's talk about RQ increases for Epic. These are the cars that I think are going to be going up in RQ when the new update drops and when, you know, those new RQ, changes are applied. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean cars going up in rarity, I mean like cars just going up in RQ from 66 to 67, for example. Well, you know what? Let's just jump straight into it. So the first one we got over here is going to be the Nissan Bluebird. Obviously, this was going to be on the list, among with a lot of other, Blossom Choice epics. This thing is ridiculous, okay? Like, once again, it is a better Lancia 037 Rally, and I think that speaks for itself. I think everyone here can agree that the Lancia 037 Rally should go epic, and since the Bluebird is better than the 037 Rally, then it should go up in rarity as well. Now, I understand that the main situation here is, oh, Blossom, you can't compare a rear-wheel drive and a four-wheel drive, blah 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 blah. Okay, well, if I put it up against a Land Rover Defender Works V8, or if I put it up against a Colorado ZR2, the Nissan Bluebird is still going to be the better car. But then you can also argue, well, Blossom, you can't compare the Bluebird to the Defender, and you can't compare it to the Colorado because they're both high ground clearance and the Bluebird is medium. The thing is, the Bluebird kind of operates in its own niche, and honestly speaking, 65 is just too low for where it is right now. I think that it should go up to 67, getting an additional RQ boost of 2. Now, obviously, giving any car an RQ increase is technically a nerf, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the car is going to be bad after the increase. I just feel like right now the RQ is underrepresented to what the car actually is. This SSS Bluebird should at least be RQ 67 in my opinion. I mean, look at this right here. Look at all the gold. The thing is incredible. I mean, yes, the Lancia 037 gets, some wins, especially in the drag department. So in the half mile and the 1 mile when it comes to the dirt or the sand, then yeah, it is better. But look at all the gold, man. And like I said, you can compare it straight to the Xterra Off-Road and the Colorado ZR2 if you only want to compare it to four-wheel drives. And as you can see, the Bluebird is better almost everywhere. So yeah, definitely needs an RQ increase. Next up on the list is going to be the Chevrolet Mirai. I think the Chevrolet Mirai is also due for an RQ increase. This one's definitely going up because, Robin already said that all cars with low RQs, all cars with low top speeds are going to move up in RQ. The Chevrolet Mirai is just ridiculous, okay? You take away the top speed, just look at this car in its entirety, okay? It's four-wheel drive, 86 handling, and it has a 0 to 60 of 4 seconds, making it one of the strongest RQ65s in the game right now. I think only behind the Bluebird that we just talked about. Now let's compare it to two competitors over here, the Maserati Ghibli and the Audi TTS Coupe. And as you can see over here, the Ghibli is 67 RQ, the TTS is bloody 73 for crying out loud. And when you compare the TTS and the Mirai together, the Mirai has the lower 0 to 60 by quite some margin, 0.4 seconds, and it handles better as well. And now I know what you're thinking, oh, Blossom, well, the Audi and the Maserati, they have top speeds. Well, here's the thing, right? The Ghibli has 67 MRA. The Audi has 70 MRA. So yeah, you have top speed, but are you really going to put the Ghibli and the TTS Coupe on a drag? No. You're not, because they don't have the MRA, and on top of that, the TTS Coupe doesn't even have a top speed. So even in a testable situation, if the TTS and the Maserati went mano-y-mano, the Ghibli would win, even with weaker MRA. It just has a higher top speed by quite some margin. So the TTS Coupe is just absolutely garbage. It honestly should go down in IQ, but we're talking about the Mirai today, and the Mirai is ridiculous. It should go up. I think that it should get an additional boost of 3, bringing it up to 68, at least put it above the Ghibli, maybe bring the TTS down to maybe 71, and You know what? To be honest, there is no world where I think that the Audi TTS should be above the Mirai and RQ. There's just no world, because like I said, no MRA in the TTS, no MRA in the Ghibli. You're not going to put them in the drag situation. So if you're not going to put them in the drag situation, where you're going to put them? The hybrid? You're not going to put them in a twisty situation either, because the handling is trash. So you put it in the hybrid situation. But when it comes to hybrid tracks, you need 0 to 60 and you need handling. Or you need two factors. Usually when it comes to hybrid tracks, you need two positives, whether it be 0 to 60 in handling, or MRA in 0 to 60, or MRA in handling. So the Mirai has that. The Mirai has the low 0 to 60. The Mirai has the MRA, not the MRA, sorry, the handling. So the Mirai is still going to be the better car in those situations. I think it should go up. The Audi TTS Maserati should go down. Anyway, moving on now is going to be the Infiniti Emerge E. This thing is ridiculous, okay? I'm putting it up against the Ford Mustang and the Abarth 124. Now, unlike the comparison of the Mirai, the TTS, and the Ghibli, I'm not going to say that the Abarth and the Mustang are actually bad epics. I think that they are pretty good. I just think that the Infiniti Emerge shouldn't be 67. It should be higher. I think it should be 68. I think that the Emerge and the Mustang should hold hands, because they are both very similar cars, okay? They both handle ridiculously well. One car you might put on a faster track set, especially on a test bowl or a 0 to 150, because it has a higher top speed, and the other car you're going to deploy on the twistier situations, because although that the SVT has the same handling as the Emerge, it just lacks the 0 to 60, you know, for 0.4 seconds is massive. And then you have the MRA difference. They are very, very similar, to be fair. The Ford Mustang at 74 and the Emerge at 73. So the Ford Mustang will be the better car, maybe in the 1 mile in the test bowl, but with 74 MRA compared to the Emerge E's 73, the Emerge is still going to beat the Mustang on a quarter mile and a half mile, because of that 0.4 difference in 0 to 60. And then we have the Abarth 124 Spider Rally, a very lightweight car, lighter than the other two. It has better MRA as well, 80 MRA, but the handling is where it kind of lacks it. You know, 85 MRA and 70 handling as well. I would say move the Abarth down maybe to 69, and then the Mustang and the Emerge at 68. These three cars are very similar, and I feel like they should be closer to each other in terms of RQ. And here's the comparisons. As you can see, the Infiniti Emerge is ridiculous. Put it side by side with the Mustang over here, okay? The Emerge beats the Mustang on indoor karting, on G-force, on slalom, on karting circuit, on twisty road, on twisty circuit, on hairpin road, on fast circuit. Dude, I mean, yeah, and as you can see over here, then yeah, the Mustang wins on the 1 mile, but it still loses on the 0 to 100. So you see what I mean? If anything, maybe even switch it around. Maybe the Mustang goes down to 67 and the Infiniti goes up to 68. It might even go up to 69. Look at how it compares to the Acura HSC as well. It's better on it on the slalom. It's very, very close in the G-force, but the Acura does win. It's the better car against the Acura on the indoor karting. It's the better car on the karting. It's the better car on the twisty road. Now let's compare it to the Abarth 124 Rally. Now this one's a little bit confusing because they're kind of like the times you gotta mix and match. So twisty circuit 106.08, and then you have 105.51. The Infiniti still beats the Fiat. Okay, so the Infiniti Emerge E definitely does not deserve to be RQ67. Moving on, karting circuit 36.98, and on this one with 36.63. So the Infiniti beats the Abarth on that as well. Here's an interesting thing though. On slalom 28.05, although the Fiat handles less, it still beats the Emerge, and that is why that is where the weight comes in. The Fiat is ridiculously light. Okay, so yeah, the Fiat has that, but you can see this, man. Like, the Emerge is a very strong car. It definitely needs to go up in RQ. Pause this video if you like, if you want to compare it even more. All right, next up, this one's pretty obvious. Really, the DS numero 9. This should get a fat increase from 75 to 79. I believe that this should be the highest RQ four-wheel drive standard tire epic, because it is simply the best. You don't believe me? Well, look at this. Yeah. Definitely. I know that the DS numero 9 doesn't have the MRA, but it's by far the best of the bunch. It should be 79. I think the CT6, which is at 79 right now, should go down to 78. And of course, I think the I-Pace should go up in RQ as well, which moves me on to my next slide, which is the Jaguar I-Pace. I think the Jaguar I-Pace should go up 76 to 78. I believe that this trio of the DS Numero 9, the I-Pace, the CT6, they should be a lot closer. And right now they're not. When you think about it, it's 75, 76, 79. I think that they should be 78, 78, 79. DS Numero 9 takes 79. They are really, really strong cars. They should be closer amongst each other. I'm comparing the I-Pace to the 740D and the 750D, mainly because, you know, they're around its RQ range. But as you can see over here, without a shadow of a doubt, the I-Pace is the better car, right? A lower 0 to 60 by a massive margin, and it handles better as well. Yeah, the top speed isn't there, but the I-Pace even has good MRA, so the I-Pace definitely needs to go up in RQ. All right, moving on is going to be the Spyker C8 Spider T. This is a car where I feel like it doesn't deserve to be a 75 as well. Not to say that the Charger and the AMG CLK DTM are bad cars. They're not. What I really want to point out here is that I believe that the C8, the Spyker C8 Spider, is just too far away from its main competitors. I feel like these cars are a lot more on the same level, especially comparing the Spyker C8 and the Charger SRT Hellcat. So that's why I think that the Spyker should go up with a +2 from 75 to 77. I mean, the MRI on this thing is ridiculous. 101.64 with that top speed with decent 0 to 60. I would say that the main thing pulling the Spyker down is the 0 to 60, but that MRA, that top speed, is going to be a beast on any 0 to 150, 0 to 200, 0 to 170, 1 mile, and test bowl. And obviously we have comparisons over here. As you can see, the Spyker actually beats the Charger when it passes the quarter mile. Look at the half mile time. So the Charger is 16.58, the Spyker at 16.53, and then you have, 1 mile, you have the Charger at 26.98, and you have the Spyker at 26.46. You take away the roof Yellowbird, and the Spyker is going to be winning the majority of the longer races. I think the only place where it kind of loses, half mile, it's behind the Peugeot 908 RC, which is another car which should go up in RQ in my opinion as well. I think that the Spyker could be 77, the Peugeot could be 78, and maybe the Charger Hellcat should be 78, dare I say, maybe even move it down to 77 along with the wide body. Okay, now moving on now is going to be, why did I have 2 slides of the Spyker? I don't know, but then we move on to the BMW M3 CS. Now, one thing I want you to remember real quick is going to be the 0 to 60 and the handling, 3.788. Please remember that, 3.788. I think this is the sweet spot when it comes to epics, okay? The MRI on the M3 CS isn't bad, isn't good either though. 84.96 is amendable, applaudable, I guess, but it's not amazing, okay? RQ 76 to 77, I think it just should get a minor RQ boost, bringing it up to 77, just so it's a little closer to the Mitsubishi Evo, which is also going up in RQ, by the way, so that's going to end up being either legendary or an RQ 80 plus epic. And then, of course, I want you to compare it to the Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio. They have the same 0 to 60, they have the same handling. You're telling me that there's a 4 RQ difference with 6 MRA and a little bit more top speed? I don't know about that one, Chief, okay? Yes, I mean, don't get me wrong, the Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio is the better car. That being said, I don't think that there should be 4 RQs separating both of them, and I think that the Giulia Quadrifoglio is a great RQ80, so I think that the M3 CS is definitely the car that should move up instead of the Giulia Quadrifoglio being the car that moves down. So, 77 for the M3 CS. Next one is going to be the Bentley Bentayga Diesel. I mean, let's be honest, this thing is better than the legendary Bentaygas. It's got better MRA, and that's really it, really. It's just the MRA that makes it better than the legendaries. So yeah, this really is a good example of MRA being better than 0 to 60. I mean, if the MRA is, this is a hard one to explain. Like, there are times where the 0 to 60 is better, but in this case, the MRA definitely takes the cake. That's a hard one to explain. I don't know how to explain that. How do you explain that? I guess if there is a large difference between 0 to 60 and MRA, like if there's a large difference between 0 to 60 in car A and MRA in car B, then you want to go for MRA. But if there's a small difference in 0 to 60 in car A and MRA in car B, then you want to go for 0 to 60. Hopefully that makes sense. I think that actually makes pretty good sense. But anyway, I think the Bentayga should go up to 79. Definitely needs to be 79. I mean, you compare it to the AMG ML63. They got the same 0 to 60. Yes, the AMG handles a little better, but like if you want a handling SUV with all surface tires, you're gonna go Dodge Durango. So ironically, Dodge. But yeah, you're gonna go Dodge Durango or maybe even BMW M3 X3 M40i. So the Bentley Bentayga Diesel is the daddy dragster, and it should be 79. The AMG ML63 should go down to 78. Then we have cars going from epic to legendary. Obviously, the Caterham. Now, I know it feels wrong for the Caterham to go to Legendary because it's been an epic in the game since the beginning, right? Since 2017. So the Caterham Superlight R500, it will feel wrong for this to go to Legendary, but at the same time, it feels right because that's where it belongs. It is an RQ82. It should be a Legendary, shouldn't it? 2.90 to 60, 90 handling, and the main thing about the Superlight is, well, it's in the name. It is incredibly light, coming in at about 525 kilograms, if I remember correctly. So at the end of the day, it is the better car to the Aerial Atom 3.5. The 0 to 60 difference between the two cars is by 0.1, and I'd rather go for the lighter car that handles better, obviously in a twisty situation. So the Caterham Superlight R500, even if it was a Legendary, would be a better car compared to the Aerial Atom if they were both at 1 star. And then obviously the Caterham 7620R is the big daddy, right? So that one's going to stay above the Caterham. Even though the Caterham Superlight is better in a slalom, you are getting better stats in the 7620R. Slightly lower 0 to 60, slightly better handling. So I would say that the Caterham 7620R and the Caterham Superlight should be like a King Donk, Prince Donk kind of situation, or a King Donk, Queen Donk kind of situation. Both of them should be Legendary, but one is just slightly better than the other, but they're both really good cars. And then here is, you know, more comparisons. As you can see over here, the Caterham R500 Superlight is just, yeah, this isn't even fair. This isn't even a competition. All the yellow, okay? It reminds you of the comparison of the Bluebird, just all the yellow or all the gold. Here's another one as well. Everyone is saying that the Mazda Mirai should go up to Legendary. It's got incredible stats. Well, look at that. the Superlight is still better in every regard, almost every regard, besides the 1 mile. And last but not least, additional epic upgrades. I think that these are the cars that would get, you know, additional epic upgrades in terms of RQ. So the M3 CSL, as long as the M3 CSL stays medium, it should probably go up to 69 or 68. The Peugeot 207, the Peugeot 208 definitely are going to go up. I mean, they got low top speeds, but look at their 0 to 60s and look at their handling. The Mitsubishi Evo 10, we already know that this one's going up. I disagree when Robin said that every Evo should go up. I think that the Evo 9 is in a pretty good place, but the Evo 10 should definitely go up. The Donkavort D8, I would say that it should go up to 77, and the Peugeot 908 RC, as I said briefly earlier on in the video, should go up to 78. Now, one additional thing I want to talk about above additional epics that should go up in RQ is going to be the perfect epic, in my opinion. That is indeed the Viper SRT10. This is a hard one. When I was making this video, I was thinking, okay, should the Dodge Viper be an RQ80? Because right now it's 79. I know it's an outdated picture, it's 78, but it's 79 right now. And I think that, like, maybe it should be an RQ80 Legendary, because this thing is actually ridiculously strong. It is the perfect hybrid car. It's got a high top speed, it's got a respectable MRI, it's got a low 0 to 60, and it's got great handling. I mean, compare it to two RQ80 Legendaries right here. The Balboni, as well as the AMG GTS. The Dodge Viper has better MRI than both of the Legendaries you see to the right. The Dodge Viper handles the same, if not better, than the two Legendaries to the right. And the Viper has a higher top speed. So it's a really hard one, you know. You think, oh, then the Viper should definitely go up, but I don't know. Maybe it is the perfect RQ79, because instead of the Viper going up to 80, maybe I think that the Viper should be the gatekeeper, the best 79 in the game. You gotta, you know, no matter what happens, there is going to be and always will be a best 79 in the game, at least for a hybrid situation. You know, and there's always going to be a best 79 for a twisty, there's going to be a best 79 for a drag, and this is the best 79 for a hybrid. I would say the best overall 79. And maybe I think that the Lamborghini Gallardo should go down to 78, and the AMG GTS should go down to 79 as well with the Viper. So there are two ways to look at the coin, but the Viper is definitely a pretty interesting one, because over here is another comparison, and as you can see, like, it's just so good. You know, it's better than the Z06. Yeah, the Z06 has lower 0 to 60 by 0.2 seconds, but the Viper has a higher top speed, has the same handling, has a better MRA by 10 in the same RQ, is saying a lot. You compare it straight up to the Aston Martin Vantage, again, same handling. The Viper has a higher top speed, it has better MRA, but the 0 to 60 difference, you know, it's a little lower. I think that the only reason that the Viper really isn't a Legendary are two things, okay? The first one is it doesn't have traction control, so that's one thing that kind of weighs it down a little bit. And the second thing is that the MRA just isn't good enough, and that's saying something, because the MRA on the Viper SRT10 is really strong, 90.24. But I feel like if you gave the Viper, if it had traction control and it had 93 MRA, like 3 MRA difference, then it would be tried and true an RQ80 Legendary, which would suck because that would bring the Viper stocks down. Not because it doesn't belong in RQ80, but because it's just so much harder to upgrade a Legendary. So the Viper SRT10 is an interesting one. When I was making this video, this entire time I was thinking, oh, should I put this as a car that should go up to legendary or not? You know, you put it up against the Gallardo, it's just a better car in every regard. You put it up against the AMG, it's a better car in every regard. You put it up against the Aston Martin Vantage, and it is a better car in many situations, but not in every regard. So it's a pretty interesting one, man. And you put it up against the Porsche 911 GT2, which is an RQ81, and you would know damn well for sure that the Viper is gonna smoke the 911 GT2 in the 1 mile as well as the test bowl, because we are seeing a 10 MRA difference here. So it's a tough one. It is a tough one. I think that the Viper is just a perfect epic. Let me know what you think about the Viper down in the comments below, or let me know about what you think about any of the other opinions I might have shared in this video. Obviously, none of this is going to be, what's the word, true. I mean, like, it might be true, but it's not set in stone yet, because obviously we haven't had that RQ update. These are my speculations. These are my opinions, so let me know down in the comments below if you agree with them or not. But anyway, guys, that is going to be it today. Those are the epic upgrades, I think, should be due for the next RQ change update, whatever it may be. But anyway, hope you guys have a great day. I'm gonna stay safe, wash your hands, and remember to let me know how you call this piece of broccoli, because a piece of broccoli just sounds wrong. I think it's a bunch. It has to be a bunch of I don't know. But anyway, hope you guys have a great day. I'm gonna stay safe, wash your hands, and blossom out. Peace.
Bro, this song just makes me so happy.
Me too.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Sit back, relax in my Bonneville Pontiac. Hold tight all night, cruise to Jacksonville
Atlantic.
Blonde hair, don't care, look like Leslie Brooks. Pin up girls everywhere with the drop dead look. Swing it side to side as we slow dance to the night, when I'll hold your perfect hand and take you out just for a ride. We'll share